Future of the SAFE program in Poland hanging in the balance, Viktor Orban accelerating his anti-Ukrainian narrative, and China investing in the Kremlin's war machine. Well, to talk about the latest events in our region and more, we're joined by Wojciech Przybylski, Editor-in-Chief of Visegrad Inside. Good evening.
Good evening.
However, we'll start with the US and Donald Trump's address, State of the Union address. Now, what conclusions should we draw from this yesterday's speech for our region and for Europe?
Not much. It was more of a speech aimed at, let's say, tuning down on aggressive posture in the US ahead of the midterms that are not expected to go very well at the current polling for the Republican Party. Trump primarily wanted to soothe the tensions related to number of incidents, including deaths of protesters in Minneapolis, the tensions around ICE, probably also these tensions related to international affairs that were not even mentioned. He was instead talking of hockey.
Well, some were mentioned, like Iran and Ukraine, very briefly. Now, we know that although Ukraine was mentioned indeed very briefly yesterday, Donald Trump held a phone call with his Ukrainian counterpart today ahead of tomorrow's round of negotiations between the US and Ukraine concerning the end of the war. Now, is this a good sign for Ukraine or quite the opposite?
It's always good to keep the United States engaged in the effort to have peace in Ukraine. On the other hand, these are not the two parties that are at war with each other. So naturally, we're missing an interlocutor at the meeting. Precisely.
Now, Sweden will not participate in the SAFE loan scheme. Well, first of all, let's talk about Sweden. Does it change anything for Europe's security overall?
They're taking a 30 billion loan to fund their defense program, and their reserves and their coffers are quite big.
Don't need the SAFE program. Poland, however, the clock is ticking for Poland. Do you think that President Karol Nawrocki will finally make up his mind and veto or not the bill?
No, well, definitely he's between a rock and a hard place. The rock being the public opinion in Poland that generally supports SAFE. We know from opinion polling this morning that about 60% of people want him to sign the bill that allows the disbursement of the SAFE money under the new law, so that we maximize the potential of the money spent on Polish defense. At the same time, he's the party that supported him for the in the candidacy for the presidency of Poland, Law and Justice, basically demands that he derails any success of the government, and that would be a major success for the government of Donald Tusk to have the SAFE program pass through the parliament and installed in the Polish system of public finances. Even as the Senate has been passing some of the adaptations to the law according to, in compromise, but in a good compromise, and amending and improving the law in the process of the legislative process. That was it looks like Mr. Nawrocki wanted these changes to be introduced. We can't be sure of the result, but I think it's altogether very good for the Polish public debate to put it on a table and see who is really for building Polish defense and being serious about the project.
As we're discussing major multi-billion loans, now I'd like to ask you about the 90 billion euro loan for Ukraine. Ursula von der Leyen claims that Kiev will eventually receive the money. How will she do it?
Well, she may try to persuade Viktor Orban before elections. Viktor Orban might be persuaded before even elections take place when Ukraine accelerates repair of Druzhba pipeline that allows the crude oil exports from Russia to Hungary. So there is an element of hard conditionality in the closed doors discussion, I'm sure. On the other hand, you can be sure that there will be a change, because things are going to change in Budapest after elections after 12th of April.
Are you so sure? I know that the lead is very comfortable for TISA party now. It's more than 10, definitely, right?
Today's polling shows, Median and independent agencies shows over 20% of lead among the decided voters. So that's quite substantive. But even if that does not lead, it doesn't translate to the number of MEPs that would have such an advantage in a change in the structure of power in Hungary. Hungarian position is weakened. Mr. Orban's position in Hungary is weakened, but also Hungarian position of being in opposition to everything else is being weakened by their economic position, by the empty coffers. Again, the finances of Budapest are, I wouldn't say in dire straits, but it's a very difficult situation, and their public debt is rising. People do not see the benefits of the policies introduced by Viktor Orban's government. So elements of moderations are coming one way or another.
I see. Now Viktor Orban is sending his troops to protect the country's energy grid. Is it a smart move? Or, will it win him some voices or not?
Well, I hope he does not call what he doesn't wish for. He's teasing with the mightiest army in Europe and calling on his neighbor that he will block funds and suggest that the neighbor is attacking him, which is not true, might eventually turn out to be true, and that will not spell good fortune for the small country of Hungary.
Right, now Slovakia and Hungary they both claim that they are undergoing some major difficulties because of oil deliveries disruptions via the Druzhba pipeline, while Croatia claims that's not the case. So in the end, is it all about just, supporting Vladimir Putin's war budget?
No, it's about supporting people who draw money from the Russian oil deliveries. Russian crude oil, the Ural oil, is of different composition and is and the refineries, primarily in Hungary but also in Slovakia, have been prepared to receive that kind of oil. But they have been also adapting, and they do not need to rely on Russian oil. But the technology once changed from Russian dependency to the dominant type of oil, which is Brent oil, that could flow into both Slovak and Hungarian refineries, would change the geopolitics forever, because you cannot reverse the process. In a nutshell, that means they have one and only moment, and Russians know it. So I'm sure there's serious money behind to make sure that Slovakia or Hungary at least delay the inevitable as long as they can.
Now, one last question: what do you make of the? What do you think of the reports that China is investing big money in a major arms production plant in Belarus?
Well, China has been present in Belarus for quite some time. In the airport of Minsk, where I used to land before the full-scale invasion a few times, you have Chinese signs and Chinese language all around. It's a major investment of the country to build relations with China and invite China at our doorstep.
Let me put it differently. Is China investing in prolonging the war in Ukraine?
Well, China is Russia's ally, and it has been supporting Russia from day one. It has actually given permission to attack Ukraine, but only after the Olympics in 2022.
Rightly. So, Wojciech Przybylski, editor-in-chief of Visegrad Inside, was our guest this evening. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching, but don't go away, as Adam Jasa is on the record with Ivana Karaskova on China-Europe relations is coming up next.